समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठेत् गृहे दीपः तस्य नास्ति दरिद्रता शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्न
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
So, namaste and happy Holi to all of you. Welcome
Namaste.
to you all in this very special session of Capacity Development Program. As you all know that time is changing, technology is changing, educational landscape is changing, and so it is very necessary that we should develop ourselves professionally in many spheres. We have to adapt, we have to innovate, and we have to inspire. And for this, the Bharati Vidya Bhavan is organizing first 10 hours online capacity building program in 2025 from March 14 to March 17. And if you see the details of this, it is having teaching methodologies, leadership skills, and the emotional intelligence. I won't say that it is covering all the fields of education, but we have tried our best that most of the fields of education is covered. And it should equip our educators with the tools which are needed to foster an engaging and inclusive learning environment. So if you see the details of the program, it is having the science education for life, emotional manipulation, teen parenting. That's for today, you'll see. And then diversity and inclusivity in education, happy classroom, and conflict management. Then for the third day, it is socio-emotional learning, transformational leadership, digital well-being, and the last day it is the gamification in learning and change management. The sessions are designed in such a way that it should give some tactical insight, strategies, and innovative approaches to address not only the need of educators, but also from the students' point of view. So I hope that by attending this, you will get the valuable knowledge to enhance the student engagement, build some positive learning, and manage the conflict effectively. And of course, you will integrate the digital tools for holistic development. So I hope that you will enjoy the program. So Abhishek, our chief guest has joined.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I'm coming to the chief guest introduction. Our chief guest is the director of Bharati Vidya Bhavan. It's my honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Sri K. Sivadas. He is a distinguished civil servant known for his extraordinary service. With a remarkable career in civil service, he has been a source of inspiration and leadership, making significant contribution to the civil service and also in the field of spiritualism. Sri K. Siva Prasad has had a distinguished career spanning over 25 years in the civil service before taking VRS from the post of Additional Secretary, Punjab government. And during this period, he interacted with a number of people from the different backgrounds and navigate a wide range of situations, both favorable and challenging. Born in Andhra Pradesh and later working in Punjab, he was exposed to rich tapestry of cultures, languages, and perspectives. As an engineering graduate, he seamlessly integrated scientific knowledge with spiritual wisdom, striking a unique balance between the two. A few years into his career, he developed a strong passion for reading to complement his practical experiences as a civil servant. He also took a sabbatical to study behavioral economics, through which he gained valuable insight into psychology and human behavior. Currently, he is serving as a director of Bharati Vidya Bhavan, Delhi, Kendra. He is also the author of Gita Acharan, a book that showcases his profound understanding of both spiritual and practical aspect of life, and write columns in newspapers regularly. During my visit in Chandigarh, when Shri Purohit was the governor, he has called us when I was attending a principal conference and gifted us few books. Gita Acharan was one of them, which is having a daily essays that you can digest like a breakfast. And it is hardly of one essay of 2 pages. And if you read the essay, I mean, it's very easy to understand. No Sanskrit, nothing like that. It's very easy and uh, very comfortable for all of us. And that's why this book is translated into the many languages. And the book bridges the gap between the spiritual philosophy and everyday living. Still, he is writing a number of articles and the columns in the newspaper regularly on spiritualism. So we are truly privileged to have you with us today and eagerly waiting forward for your words of wisdom. Please join us. I request all of you to join us in extending a warm welcome to Sri Sivadas. Please, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, wish you a very happy Holi. I know on a holy day we are starting this seminar. And thank you very much, Anil Sharma-ji, for giving this opportunity and introducing me. Basically, as you might be aware, I'm just 10-day old in Bharati Vidya Bhavan. Couple of days back when Anil Sharma-ji came and gave the details of this program, and I have gone through it, I was so excited. The amount of efforts in gathering the experts for this program and the variety and the diverse topics that are being covered in this 3-day seminar, 3-day workshop. So I was very excited. So the moment I saw, I said, no, I would like to be there on all 3 days and want to understand the latest things that are happening in education. Though I was in civil service, as Sharma-ji has said it, for almost 30 years, but somehow I never worked in education sector. Though I'm aware of the contours of education sector, what's happening around. So I thought the 10-hour online capacity development program organized by Shikshasan Bharati would help me also to get myself updated about the latest things that are happening in the education sector. All of you know, after COVID, the things have changed a lot. The way in which entire society has changed, and school, education, students, families, and there are no exceptions. All of them have still undergoing a lot of change. So this is forcing everybody to adapt to the new situation that has come out of it. And at the same time, we have new education policy, which is in place, and the expectations from the new education policy is a duty of all of us to align ourselves with the new education policy, which was uh, there to take our country to the next level. And as you are aware, even our own Bharati Vidya Bhavan, for us, Sanskrit and Sanskriti is the priority. And we always wanted to connect with our past and taking our students to the future. So we are kind of a bridge between the past and present, and who is in the present moment. The topics covered are already explained by Mr. Sharma ji, and all of them are very exciting. The very fact that the resource person's biodata have gone through, and the topic chosen by the Sekshana Bharati have gone through, I think it's going to be a very exciting, motivating, and a learning experience for all of us. And I wish you all the best for a successful conduct of the 3-day and 10-hour online capacity development program for educators. And I hope that at the end of this 3-day seminar, you will be richer by experience, you will be richer by knowledge, you will be richer in sharing each other's experience, because as one person we can't gather so much of experiences. So experience sharing is one of the major factors which I look for, and I'm sure all of you will be able to get maximum out of the resource persons, which are carefully selected, and who have gained name, fame in their own fields, and they are pioneer in those fields, and throughout their experience is going to enrich us. So with these words, I wish you all the best for the 3-day course, and I'm sure the learnings you have in the seminar they are going to help our children in their classrooms. That's the purpose for which we are all sitting, so that a child can get the best experience of our school. Like if you ask anybody, we all remember our school days, the joy of learning, the discipline of a teacher. If you look back and see, these are the things that made us what we are today. And I'm sure by enhancing our own knowledge, experience, and attitude towards the new situations, I'm sure such seminars will help us, and we'll be able to give our best to the students whom we are helping them to attain their knowledge, attain their attitude, and to build their character, so that they can become a wonderful citizens of this beautiful country. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your pulse of wisdom. You have rightly said that we are the bridge between the past and future, and also we are celebrating joy of learning with the joy of Holi, joy of colors. So thank you very much, sir. So friends, Let me introduce you the keynote speaker, Dr. AP JAYARAMAN. Dr. AP JAYARAMAN is a very distinguished scientist and educator. He has served as a nuclear scientist at Bhabha Atomic Research Center from 1964 to 2004 and hold key academic position in India and Singapore. Currently, he chairs the National Center for Science Communicators, leads STEAM Academy, and advises educational institutions. He is a wonderful science storyteller, authored more than 20 books, 3,000 articles, and conducted global seminars. I have seen him in one of the seminars in National Physical Laboratory in which he invited me. I feel it is a privilege to attend that particular program. It was really wonderful. I had never felt that I'm attending a program. It was felt that I'm participating in the program. I'm the part of the program. So it is one thing that has touched me. And for every seminar, he used to put heart in that. His focus is on introducing science communication courses in Indian colleges, Indian schools. He holds a PhD degree in science and PGD MM in management. So I'm sure that you will forget where you are and you will be immersed in the field of science. So today, Dr. AP Jayaraman will tell us about science education for life. Sir, welcome to you in this session, and the stage is all set.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. Can you give me the right to share my slides?
Sir, please. Abhishek, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So can I have my first slide, please?
You may share the screen, sir.
Oh, I have sent the slides to you. Can you not use that?
Okay. Shall I share, sir?
Oh, that
Yes,
is
yes,
great.
yes, please,
You can
please.
do
Okay.
that, nothing like
Okay.
that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, there I am.
Okay, sir.
Distinguished Director Shivprasad ji, my dear good friend Dr. Anil Sharma, you have spoken so much good about me. Friends always speak good about them. So most of you can forget the nice things he has mentioned about me. I'm an octogenarian scientist, partly fossilized. But still, I am a product of education, a product of science education. And I would like to share what I learned or what I failed to learn through a long journey of 40 years in science and 40 years in science communication. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. So that's all what I have been trying to introduce about my subject. And Dr. Sharma told me that I should speak on education for life. That was too complex and too massive and a humongous topic for me, in which I am totally incompetent. My life has been restricted by the restraints and constraints of a science, technology education, engineering and management education. So to speak on the larger and greater canvas of education would be hazardous for me as a profession, and I would not be doing justice to that. With that, these are the conditions under which I have accepted, and I will share my little thoughts. Scientific thoughts are always small, atomic, nuclear, subatomic, particular. That's the way we think about the world. We try to construct a world from the smallest possible concept and the smallest possible particle. Can I move to the next slide, please? Next slide.
Sure, sir.
Today is a very, very special day, March 14th. This is the day on which you will find two people, a person born and a person who passed away. Einstein and Stephen Hawking. Now, today is also known to you as Pi Day. We all know that as the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, and pi is part of our 6th standard or 7th standard mathematics. And today is the Pi Day. The pi is so important to a scientist. The whole universe has been explained by Stephen Hawking by that single equation. And you can see the equation that is Stephen Hawking explaining to me what his equation means in his own very, very strange electromechanical means of explaining. S is equal to pi a ac cubed divided by 2hg. Wonderful capital letters and small letters. There you will find, except A, which is area, all others are constants. Planck's constant, Boltzmann's constant, Newton's constant. So putting all these things together, one man in his lifetime gave the total quantum derivable for the universe. So that was his understanding of the whole universe. And even today, the dream of every scientist is to understand the universe as much as Hawkins understood, and how we can go forward from the known to the unknown and to the unknowables too. Next slide. Yes, I have been a friend of Bhavan's journal for quite some time. In fact, I am the odd man out in that celebrated journal of art, culture, and aesthetics. You'll very often find articles on science. And seldom the editor puts a scientific topic on the front cover. That happened about 2 months ago. Bhavan's journal carried a rose flower and an article, Roses and Their Secrets, later. Now, this rose flower is a scientist's product, not a product of imagination, but a product of botanical reality. We can have roses without thorns, no prickles required. You can have soft, absolutely harmless rose flowers, and that has been created by plant scientists. The story of that rose without thorns has been narrated in your journal, Bhavan's. So, and you will very often find every fortnight an essay or an article on a scientific topic. Those who are interested in science may kindly go through this. Next one. Yes, I am a scientist. Why? I have my reasons. I believe in the scientific method. I ask appropriately ignorant questions, stupid questions. I create some knowledge which was not existing earlier. That's new knowledge. And this is the only profession. Science is the only profession which gives me that ultimate freedom to say that I am wrong. The experiment I did was wrong, and the data I collected was wrong, and therefore my conclusion was absolutely wrong. This freedom to declare yourself as absolutely wrong, that's not the privilege of many other professions. If a jurist were to say that, if a doctor were to say that, things would have been very bad. And above all, the pleasures of science education in life is that you can remain undecided when information is scanty. When you don't have all the details of a situation, you can remain in a state of undecidedness. So undecidedness is a very difficult property of the mind. It's a peculiar mindset, which is very natural and genetic to the scientifically trained people. But to most of us, we jump into conclusions, no matter how scanty or how short the information is. And many of us have this problem of differentiating between misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. to test them their acidity of these various informations that is flooding us in this world of information explosion. The scientist will remain calm like a saint and a seer. All that you have to need, just as most of the civilized educational community are familiar with Run and Martin for their English and Paul is not an English usage. There's a grammar and a vocabulary for science. If you can pick it up by the age of about 21 to 22, you will be the owner of a very good lexicon of science. Then the remarkable feature which you can keep in your life is you are an optimist. And you are an unreasonable optimist, a passionate optimist, to the extent that you will never be allowed even a stray thought of pessimism to enter your life. These are some of the byproducts of a career and a life in science. Next one, please. Yes. Next one, please. That's what yes. That's my school. My school is, I studied in the Baba Atomic Research Center in 1964, 1965. And my school was different. My course was for 1 year. And I had 3 professors every week. My teachers were very different. None of them had a B.Ed or a M.Ed or a D.Ed in education. We had tests, about 50 tests we have to write over a period of 1 year and get 60 marks minimum. Otherwise, it is declared that you are fit not to be found anywhere near an academic institution or a scientific laboratory. And the profession was different. And we had a mission to do research. Research means search. Search again and again to find something new. Creating new knowledge, I said a short while ago. But it's not enough if you find some new knowledge. You should be able to demonstrate that, develop it, and to deploy it to produce the intended effect. So science means products and services and creation of wealth. Today we speak about the knowledge economy. And the root analysis of all knowledge economy is science and technology. We can create wealth only by the application of science and technology. And that makes the difference. Your Human Development Index, your GDP are all decided. In fact, it is the per capita consumption of electricity per day by you. Depends on the quality of life you have. So that's what a scientific career is being taught in research institutions. And this career made me a very unreasonable optimist. I explained to you a short while ago. Next one, please. To all the beautiful minds attending this lesson, this is a learning lesson for me. I would request you to write down a question which you will have for me, because it's more the questions that is made answerable rather than what I say. Based on what I say, if you are able to craft a question, please put it in the chat box. I'll be delighted to respond to that. These are some of the teachers under whom I was trained in science. My first teacher was Homi Jahangir Baba. He died in 1966. And my graduation was done in 65, 1 year before his death. He has taught us passage of radiation through matter, how waves traverse through matter. And he will come to the class and explain with that feeling of innate involvement, of as if we will feel that we are all matter and he is passing through us. Those were very exotic days when scientists were able to dissolve themselves and explain the concepts. The concepts, when someone is very, very clear with the concepts, and you can diggle around that and put it in any fashion they like, that's remarkable. So I had the privilege of learning physics from him. Then we had Dr. Bhavan Sarabha. He taught us a larger picture of life, what science is to. To put it in a nutshell, I remember distinctly his characteristic statement: put uranium on one side, take rice and wheat from the other side. The most meaningful way, it's even told that God will appear in the presence of the poor man only in the form of food. So he said science should appear in the eyes of a common man as energy, uranium coming from there. Outside should be drinking water and food for eating. And that drinking water from seawater, which is undrinkable, unpotable, is safe. So how to convert seawater into freshwater, drinking water, and how to produce high-yielding varieties for the billions of people. That was a larger canvas which he called the new place. And he was passionate about it, and he explained to us, and he motivated, stirred, he started a movement for this. And many of us are still in that dreamy state of what he was aspiring to create. The Green Revolution came, Swaminathan came, that's all the other things. Then most of you must be aware of our president, Dr. AP Kalam, whom also had the privilege of working strategic areas. And you will find Dr. Chidambaram, the crystallographer, the man who led the country, made India a nuclear proud nation. So these were some of the teachers with whom I had the privilege of learning the subject matter, and the passion with which they taught and the passion with which I absorbed are absolutely indelible even to me today. Next one. Did you slide one up? I saw a broccoli and a.
Okay, sir.
Can I have the broccoli? Ah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
I think I like the broccoli and I like the cauliflower. But when a scientist looks at this like this, you have the broccoli on one side and you have the cauliflower. Ask yourself, which is the mother and which is the daughter? That's a question which scientists and plant scientists, botanists will ask themselves. And if you go into the evolution of this species, you will find that broccoli is a mother whose florets are still in the evolving stage. And whereas in the cauliflower, it has taken a full form of evolution. Now, the genetic distance between these two materials, plant materials, was studied by a group of scientists. And that is called creating new knowledge. When you see a broccoli and a cauliflower, most of us will think about the quality of the food that it gives us to eat. But the scientist will look at it very, very different. And he'll be looking for the evolutionary change. So this is how you can find a fundamental, a basic difference in the mindset when you see objects, observation. And the observation is very, very specific. And scientific observation is something which is a genre apart. Can I move to the next? Yes. Now let's look at a cow. All of us have seen cows. There's nothing very great about it. And in the Indian culture and tradition, the cow is a venerable animal. Now, if a scientist has to take a decision whether you should stand in front near the mouth of the cow or near the rectum of the cow, what will be the decision you will take? Maybe that's a stupid question, but scientists ask stupid questions. The more stupid, the stupider the question, the higher the quality of the answer. Anyone wants to guess whether to stand near its mouth or near its tail? Whatever we do, there should be a scientific reason for it. The reason may change and you may change your stand. But now we took there are gases coming out, which is a greenhouse gas. The cow eats grass, cellulose, undergoes digestion. It produces carbon dioxide and it also produces methane. Both are greenhouse gases, which leads to global warming. So that's the scientific aspect of it. But then we were not knowing. So we took a methanometer and kept it near its mouth and kept it at its tail. And then we found that most of the methane is, we means not me. I mean the scientific community. Now I speak for the scientific community because it's a community knowledge. Who did it is that individuals, any particular individual, there was a time, gone are the days of glory when individuals could contribute substantially to science. Today, science is teamwork. You need at least 10 to 20 people to work on a project or a problem to solve. So this problem of a gas coming out from the mouth of the cow or from its rectum was decided by measuring. Measurement is science. If you can't measure, you can't manage. If you can't measure, you can't understand. For everything, one of the problems we face here is we are highly literate and we are poorly numerate. Literacy and numeracy should be of the right proportion for a scientific career. You must be very good at your numbers and you should be very good at the concepts by which you are explaining these numbers. So we found that methane is coming more from its work. And therefore, methane is 28 times more toxic, poisonous than carbon dioxide. So better to keep at the back of the cow rather than at the front end. Now you may look, this is a very silly interpretation, but to a scientist, this is one of the self-actualizing realizations of having discovered a fact and to lead a life led by the light of that fact. Next one. So I am going backward. Yes, broccoli gone. Yes, these are my teachers. So I mentioned about Albert Einstein a short while ago because he said, and I love that statement, that's the only reason for putting it here. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Now, there was a time, even in my days in the college, we used to be valued for the facts we know. The ability to reproduce facts from the textbook with no errors in comma or full stop, that was considered the perfect intelligence. If we can quote with no error, we get the full mark out of it. No matter, it doesn't matter whether you understood it or not, but ability to reproduce by rote learning was a significant singular signature of education in the college space. But today, we don't need information. Information can be had from reliable sources. You are valued not for the information you carry, not for the dirty big basket of information, but for your ability to process information. Take any 2 or 3 pieces of data points, visualize the data, come out where logic leads it to. The application of that critical thinking with the creativity built into that. Those were all words in the textbooks, but today these are the words in action in the field. Next one. Yes. So who is a scientific teacher? Now you can be a scientific teacher, you can be non-scientific teacher, you can be an ascientific teacher, all sorts of, there is a wide spectrum of choice available. But one of the finest brains of philosophy, a metaphysician, Sir Bertrand Arthur William Russell, Fellow of the Royal Society, extremely good at his mathematics, extremely good at his logistics, and a metaphysician, very good at sciences at the level of philosophy. He said he gave the simplest definition for science. What is science? You can write a huge textbook on what is science without letting anybody know what it is. He said science enables you to know things and to do things. Knowing and doing, K and D. These are the two elements of a scientific endeavor and a scientific enterprise and a scientific activity. But then we have capital letters and small letters. We can walk through life with a small K and small d, knowing a little and doing a little. Many professors are of that type. For normal promotions, we need small k and small d, then we will run the chronological path of progress. But there are others who have capital K, enormous knowledge capital, but will do nothing. Then there are doers, action-oriented, accelerated action, but with a little knowledge. And a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. But doing many more things at a capital level. The small k and capital D is another problem. The ideal situation is a capital K and a capital D. This is the general formula which we study in the beginning of our science career. That's in the early 20s. Now, it is also important because I remember Sharmaji's question to me, why don't you speak on education and lifelong education. That problem has been addressed by Bertrand Russell, education and the good life. And there he gave a definition for good life. A good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. A good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. K is a component. But now, love without knowledge and knowledge without love are disastrous propositions. Nothing can be more malignant than that. Enormous love and no knowledge. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know all about fission. You know all about chain reaction. And you can convert uranium into barium and krypton and convert energy E is equal to mc squared and burn humanity. That is highest form of knowledge with no love at all to humanity. You can see the disastrous proposition of knowledge without. Now the other case of having love without knowledge. Imagine a situation, a thought experiment which all of you can. In fact, we as teachers should be able to do as many thought experiments as we can. Because many of the things which we may not do in the laboratory in the physical reality. So in virtual reality, we can do a large number of thought experiments, and thought experiments should be feeling the gravity of our classrooms. Yes. Now imagine COVID times. We are asking everybody to congregate together. Please come to me. Please come to my house. I want all of you to be together with me. You have all the love for your neighbors, but you have no knowledge about the viral transmission. So that is another example, another extreme example where lack of knowledge and excess love produces harmful effects. Well, I deviated from this topic because that is a larger one, the education and a good life, whereas I am only dealing with a small subset at the nuclear atomic level here. Then I move to the next piece. Yes. Now imagine for a moment, I have a matchbox in my hand. I am holding the matchbox in my left hand and striking it with my right hand. There I get a fire. I put it near the wick. The light is lit. It's fine. Wonderful. Do I understand the process that has taken place? Do I know what is happening? That's where the problem comes. For example, the head of the matchstick, you will see either black, inky black, or sometimes red. That contains a chemical element called red phosphorus. When you touch to the side of the matchbox and apply Newtonian pressure, under that pressure, the red phosphorus gets converted to white phosphorus, which is inflammable, spontaneously flaming. And a fire is created. And that white phosphorus gets converted to phosphorus pentoxide. So at the matchbox end, we have put a little sulfur. Sulfur catches fire. Then we added a little more chemicals, potassium chloride, that gives you oxygen. A series of chemical reactions take place, and the matchstick, which is made up of wood, which is C6H12O6, catches fire, and you get a fire. The pyrochemical processes that take place when you strike a matchbox and light a lamp is very, very complex. And understanding that in toto is what scientists try. Now, having struck the matchstick and created a flame, how do you transfer that flame from the matchstick to a wick? Now imagine a wick which is cotton, which you put in oil, which may be either coconut oil or krill oil, whatever it is, C17H, C16H35COH, and glycerides and so on. Now, it is, we say it is soaking. The wick is soaking in oil. But that word soak which we use is a universe of knowledge for the scientist. That dipping your wick in an oil involves sorption, adsorption, chemisorption, and absorption. Ab and AD. Now, the processes and the phenomena that takes place in such a small event as fire, as lighting a small fire, to the scientist is a world of realities. Each one has to be understood, measured, and reproduced. That's what. No wonder we honor both Prometheus, who brought fire from the Greek gods, and other one who also brought it from our mythology, bringing it for humanity's welfare. So that fundamental, it was technology. The fire which came to us was technology. Today, a 12th standard NCERT textbook for an IBDP student will definitely be able to give you the series of chemical reactions that take place to the satisfaction of reproducing this in the laboratory. So these are some of the small benefits which we get in following a scientific way. Can I move to the next place? Yes. Now let us ask another stupid question, a historically stupid question. Was the first teacher a man or a woman? Now, anthropologists who have made a detailed study of the evolution of the human societies, they have come to the conclusion that it was not a hunter-gatherer society. It was a huntress-gatherer society. The ability to strike at a deer, which needs expertise of a high order of magnitude, that was possessed by a woman. It was she who had the skill set to get the food for it. So most of us who have been going through the human evolution in the early times, now we know that teaching profession originated from a woman, and that skill was transferred, and today we became an agricultural society. Even if you look at the recorded history of human times, you will find Pythagoras' daughter, Hypatia, the pleasure she had in teaching mathematics to the students of Pythagoras was really great. And Socratic method of teaching is something which some of us as a pedagogy use in the classroom, particularly in scientific classes. And that says, I can't teach anybody anything, I can only make you think. I cannot teach anybody anything, I can only make you think. That means thinking, critical thinking or creative thinking or cognitive function, whatever it is, that will be decided by your neurotransmitters, and we will not go into the cognitive psychology of that. Let me move to the next slide, except to say that teaching has become a very, therefore we have Rene Descartes, who said, I think, therefore I am. If you don't think, you don't exist, you're brain dead. And teachers think about thinking all the time. So thinking about thinking, which involves meta thinking, that is what our profession is. Next one. Can you take these slides forward, a little further? Can it go to the next slide? Oh. Professor Aristotle, see, one of the major qualities of a scientist is to observe. To observe means not to see, not to look at. We can see many things. We can look at many things, but we don't observe. To observe, to mindfully observe, to observe with eliciting information, that's a great art, and that's the scientific method. So Professor Aristotle said, women have fewer teeth. This is a statement which a professor has made, and once a professor says that, goes into the textbook, and that becomes the dogma. If you ask any dentist, they know that this is not a truth, but this is an old way, which Bertrand Russell was very fond of saying, the value of observation. Now, women have fewer teeth. Aristotle had married twice. He had two wives, Hercules and Pythias. He never asked his wives to open their mouth and count their teeth. Had he done that simple scientific act of numbering or counting, he would never have made this profound folly of stating that women have fewer. Lack of observation. A lot of knowledge has lost over a period of the history of recorded history of science, that observation was poor because they thought there is an inductive fashion and I am destined to give new knowledge. There is nothing like that. We need to be mindfully observant. Next one. Next one, please. Am I audible?
हाँ
Yes,
बोलो
sir.
कहाँ पहुंच गए
Yes, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, I can shout a little more. Yes. And he never opened the mouth to check. Yes, fine. Next one, please. That's the power of observation. So when I retired, there's a 60 we retire, and then there is a thought in your mind, you are no longer thinking. So immediately after retirement, I went to take an EEG of my brain waves. And I found that there was no difference prior to my retirement and after that retirement. So your brain function you can test. And I hope all teachers should take their brain test and find out the delta, theta, alpha, beta waves, their proportions, their heights, their sequence. That will give us a good idea about where we stand, because the brain is the only thing with which we do teaching. Yes, next one, please. Can you slightly move a little forward? Yes. Now, this is a way of thinking. This chicken was over here. Every day, the scientists gave 100 grams of wheat to the chicken, and it started growing. And he found a plot. There is a linear growth proportional to the food it has taken. And over a period of 150 days, this hypothesis was validated. What was the hypothesis? The hypothesis is this: give food to a chicken, it will eat, it will gain weight. And the gain in weight has been measured. And it has been measured for 140 days. There has been no error. There has been consistent growth. Then, next one. On December 24th, its status became different. So inductive thinking, deductively you have reduced that if you go on doing this, this will happen. But suddenly you found something coming about. Science should be able to explain phenomena of a complex nature of this type. And you need different mindsets. It's not enough if you have one mindset for being a good scientist. We today say, particularly for the IBDP systems, we need 5 different mindsets acting in unison all the time. Next one. He has been against us, to all teachers, George Bernard, Pygmalion. He said, those who can, they do. Those who cannot, they teach. But today, all teachers who can, they do, and they teach. So the doing and teaching function which George Bernard was lamenting is no longer valid, and he will stand corrected on his famous humor on this topic on us. Next one. Now, scientific thinking. One way of scientific thinking, you have to observe, which Professor Aristotle didn't do. Hypothesize, you have to say this might happen. Then you have to do experiments. Then you, repeating the experiment, you either validate it. And if it is not getting true the way you say it's falsified, hypothesis is thrown out. And a new hypothesis is put out, which is called rehypothesize. Again, you do the process and you create new knowledge with minimum assumptions. Now, I have shown you 3 pictures here. To a scientist's mind, these 3 pictures, state 3 narratives in human sociology. You will find the chimpanzee keeping its baby to its left. and you will find a Caucasian lady keeping its child to the left. And in a Malayalam cinema, which was pure active, contrary to established scientific facts, the child is kept to the right. So when you look at a place, if you are in a pediatric ward of a hospital, see whether the child is taken to the left or to the right. And is there a genetic reason for that? So this is an experiment which Jane Hall did it over chimpanzees. And from chimpanzees to the human evolution, she hypothesized further, and that has been validated. So science involves asking very stupid questions, but it gives you universally acknowledged facts for our understanding. Next one. Yes, what is science? What is not science? What is non-science? It's too philosophical, so I'll skip it for the time being. Next, please. Yes, this is something which came in science 4 days ago. I have my columns to write in science, so every day I read about 100 science discoveries. And we found that walnuts are exceptionally good. And it seems the researchers at the University of Reading found that consuming 50 grams of walnuts mixed with muesli and yogurt led to quicker reaction times and improved memory later in the day. So before going to deliver a lecture at 10 o'clock, swallow 50 grams of walnuts, have your muesli and yogurt and brush. The study was published in Food and Nutrition, involved 32 healthy adults aged 18 to 30. Experimental details are available to you. Very good scientific report for a science journalist to narrate, and for a science storyteller to give a beautiful, colorful, Kanjivaram sari type story out of it. Now, having read this, another person said, yes, the walnut looks like the human brain, and therefore it should be good for the brain. That was an unwanted assumption. Not only that, suddenly they went, the person went to the extent of saying, look at Rajma. It looks like the kidney. It's exceptionally good for your kidney. So from the known to the unknown, from the knowable to the unknowable, the transition is to be regulated and moderated and controlled and rigorously tightened by scientific theory. If you go into the biochemistry and nutrition of Rajma, you will find it is a rich source of protein and is good for the brain. And excess of Rajma with its amylase, there should be a load on them. Now, to look at a food material based on its geometrical shape, physical appearance, and then correlate with its function, even when this experimental data results, you need to be eternally watchful. In fact, the religion of science is be doubtful. Be skeptic. Whenever anything is being uttered, take it with a pinch of salt. Go to the original. What experiment they did? What are the conditions under which the experiments were conducted? Is it valid under the situation I which I am applying? So universal truths, they do not exist. Everything is specific, contextualized. This is why the teaching of science becomes extremely important, because it has to be contextualized. Next one. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of the disastrous situation in which we are all meeting here. In 89 seconds, the entire world can be brought to ashes. In 89 seconds, the whole world can be brought to absolute ashes. That much overkill power is there with the United States, with Soviet Union, with Russia, and the China. These three countries can bring the world to an absolute zero stage. No trash of living organisms in 89 seconds. It was earlier 90 seconds, but now this year, this is called the doomsday clock, the bulletin of atomic science. So the bulletin of atomic scientist finds out the dangers, the existential threats to our existence. and found that artificial intelligence, biotechnology, high security, viral agents being created, and the nuclear disaster and the climate change. These four parameters, if any of them happen, we are no more. History will come to its end. In fact, if you remember, one of the greatest teachers, in fact, we honor our Teachers' Day in honor of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan was a great philosopher and a teacher. And I remember his particular quote at this point of time. And he says, if we plunge the world into a nuclear disaster, either by accident or by design, we'll go down in history, not as responsible citizens, but as lunatics. And the verdict of history on civilization will be suicide in a state of unsound mind. That suicide in an unstable mind, which Dr. Radhakrishnan was afraid of, can happen in 89 seconds if China, Russia, and the US plunge into that mindset. Next one, please. Now a scientist will ask a question. Is the cat a solid or a liquid? What a silly question to ask. Cat is a solid or a liquid? Everybody knows solid, liquid, gas. We know everything so well. Yet this foolish question was asked by a chemical engineer. And fluid mechanics, for 8 years he studied the problem. And he found that the properties of a fluid, that is liquid and gas together, is called fluid in chemical engineering. The cat has all the properties of a liquid and a solid, and it can engage and occupy the space into which it is put. And that was 8 years of rigorous research. But if I tell you that a cat is solid or liquid, all of us will laugh at it. So asking laughing questions and searching for that answer, that's madness. But madness has its own pleasures, and scientific life gives you licentiousness for that. Next one, please. Okay. We all use Teflon coated vessels at home, and this is a typical way for the non-vegetarians and stuff. Yes. If you are using your Teflon coated material, then, and if it scratches, it produces PTFE, and that will give you cancerous problems in that. Now, the temperature at which it is done, the scratches it has appeared on this, that has been counted by scientists. Nanoparticles coming out of it, and science studies such problems. Next one. Currently, science is engaged in creating artificial wombs because there have been a large number of children being born, premature born, where the mother and the child together die, or the child doesn't survive. So they have to be kept in incubators, an artificial system to give them tide over the initial difficulties. Now, having developed excellent incubators of that type, scientists are now making whether the whole life cycle of the child can be taken out. And they have very successfully done this with sheep. And I think this technology is round the corner, depending upon the investment, the capital investment, and number of the best brains that are working on the subject. Next one. I'm just giving you a taste of where the scientists are doing this. Now imagine a squirrel. The most of our mind, as we walk in our morning walk or our evening walk, we will find the little tiny creature eating a nut or in a pure vegetarian form. But scientists have been looking, is it false or true? Or are all squirrels vegetarian or non-vegetarian? Then they found, search for it. If you look for it, if you observe for it, then you will find there are squirrels which are non-vegetarians also, and they have been documented now, and their digestive systems have been studied. Dr. Sharma, I have 10 minutes or 5 minutes?
Why, sir?
I have 5 minutes?
Please, sir.
Okay. Next slide. You can stop me at any time because now we scientists are capable of thinking the unthinkable. For example, I think of a cat which is dead and alive at the same time. Can you think of a living thing which is dead and alive at the same time? Not possible. But if you want to do good physics, if you want to do Schrodinger physics, particle wave duality, decay of radioactive atoms, radioactivity, then it is very important that you should be familiar with Schrodinger cat. The Schrodinger cat is in a black box. There's a black cat in a black box. And we keep a radioactive material over that. When a radioactive atom decays, a particle comes out. That particle will open a bottle of poison. The poison will permeate the atmosphere. Cat will inhale it and get dead. So the death of the cat is caused by the decay of the radioactive atom. But at any point of time, whether it is dead or alive, we do not know. So you have to think of a quantum state in which life and death indistinguishably are interlinked together. And today we are speaking of quantum computing. And you can teach quantum computing at the 6th, 7th, 8th standard now. That is where we speak about light, refraction, optics. At that stage, when photons are being taught, it is necessary for us to bring in the concept of wave particle duality and the Schrodinger cat. Next one. Next one. This is one of the finest teachers of physics, Richard Feynman. Now, think like a chemist and think like a physicist. Marie Curie and Irene Curie in the house, mother and daughter, transmission of scientific culture apart from other cultures. J.J. Thomson and his son, electron discover. So this happens in families. Next. So when you take Boyle's law in the class, it is necessary for you to think like a chemist. Boyle's law, Charles' law, molecular moment, pressure, ideal gas behavior, mole concept, chemical equilibrium potential, gas expansion, states of matter. Now these 10 brain dancing stories and a balloon will be the content of a classroom when we take on 8th standard, the pressure volume relationships. Next one. Can we move a little faster because I am on specifics? You have to think like a physicist. Yes, you have to think mathematically accurate. Next one. You have to get rid of your subjective realities. If you have 2 watches, if you have your watch and your friend's watch, and if you are asked what is the right time, you will trust your watch or a friend's watch. I do not know if there is a difference of time. So relativity of time depends on your selection of the watch rather than the absolute value of it. Next one, please. No, this is again mathematics. Take it out. Let's go forward. I have 5 minutes. So just think of water. There are 100 different types of water, and each one is different. So understanding 100 different types of water is a great knowledge. Ionized water, light water, mineral water, rain water, well water, ultra pure water, heavy water, gray water, green water, blue water. Each one is so different. Unless the specifics are totally known, you cannot distinguish one from the other. Next one. Now, urination law. This is very interesting. The rat and the elephant take the same time to urinate. This is by observation and doing experiments. So science discovers such rules of life. Next one. How did we become tailless? That has been studied. Next one. Now, to become a scientist, you can't become a scientist before 25. You need your MSc, your BSc, your PhD, and BSc. But can you remain a scientist at 93? Yes. This is Barrett Hassity, teaches at 93, Brown University, and enthralling the students with his mastery of electronics. Next one. This is one of my teachers. Professor P.K. Iyengar, who taught me nuclear physics, and we were at Pokhran 1974 and studying the explosion after the event. Next one. M.S. Swaminathan, the architect of Green Revolution, whom I had the privilege of working with, and he told me, he was just showing, see how great teachers influence you. While giving a talk, I was sitting next to him. He said, just look at the out of the window. There you find water hyacinth. This water hyacinth will be able to absorb toxic chemical elements from polluted, contaminated water, and you can make excellent water out of that. For 3 years, we worked on his system and produced a good working system. So this is how ideas come from, creative ideas, which when critically applied produces good results. Next. Now, some people, doctors were used to ask, ulcer, is it due to stress? Is it due to excess of hydrochloric acid in the stomach? Is it due to bad diet, overweight, bacteria? These were the 5 questions which the doctors used to ask themselves and others, and textbooks. Finally, Warren and Marshall, 2005, won the Nobel Prize by proving that ulcer is caused by the bacteria Helicobacter pylori. Next. That's a great story by itself. If you have a gold ring in your hand, and if you look at where it came from, you must be able to say that it is from the jeweler in the shop, in the city. But 100 times the weight of this earth was created in gold by a kilonova, a neutron star, far in the universe. Then it came down to Earth. So the history of our gold in your body now goes back to the neutron stars. That's a fascinating scientific story. Next one. You need a disciplined mindset to be a scientific person. If you are vacillating all the time, you can't do that. So the splitting lady who found out that uranium splits into barium and krypton and gives you enormous amount of energy, she was responsible for that. Next one, please. That's Marie Curie, and she said the radioactivity is the release of energy from the BK. These are the 2 great lady teachers who brought in the new nuclear era and changed the whole concept of human history. Next one. And here we have the creative mindset. The creative mindset is Ambassador Butland. She is the lady who defined what sustainability is. Sustainability is a concept difficult to define. She said it's meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And this is all the SDG 17 are based on her concept of sustainability. Next one. I have 2 minutes more. Yes, let me just speak about Michael Sandel, a professor of philosophy at Harvard University. He asked us to do a thought experiment. Here is a trolley, an engine. It's traveling on a track, and it is coming to a Y junction. Exactly at the Y junction, the brake fails, the steering works. You have a freedom to turn to the left or to the right. You can't do anything else. You can't stop it. If you turn to the left, your principal and vice principal are walking on the track, and they will be dead and gone in a minute. If you turn to the right, maths, physics, chemistry, biology teachers are working. It will go to the right. Will you kill 2 principal and vice principal or the 5 teachers? What will you do? What will you not? Choice is yours. You have a third choice. Here is a top arrangement. And very fat man, 150 kilograms, is standing over there. If you can push him down before the trolley comes there, you can save all the 7 lives by sacrificing 1. Will you do that? And if that man happens to be your father, will you do that? Life is a complexity of poignant solutions. Next one. So we have to, 17 hours. I'll stop now. All that we have to do as teachers, we have the inherent power. We have the horsepower. We can walk at 5 kilometers. That's what horses do. But with a little training, we can make us trot. That's about 10 kilometers per hour. And with a little more training, we can be cantering at 15 kilometers per hour. And still, if we acquire competency-based capacity building, then we'll be able to gallop at 50 kilometers per hour. Accelerated reaction is required, and that depends teacherly contribution. Now, can you take me to the last slide? Because I am at 17 hours. Yeah. I will close with the Bertrand Russell statement once again. A good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. That's ultimate what earthly life can be. Thank you.
Any questions that you want to ask?
Anything in the chat box?
No, I don't think there is any question. So I'll send your email or number to them, and they can ask the question to you.
Yes, they're welcome
And
questions whenever they feel.
so thank you very much. Actually, you have reminded us so many things in a very short time that teachers should think about thinking. Thinking is very important. And when you was talking about your teachers, I mean, they are a very rarely, I have seen there are very rare persons who can get Bhaba, Sarabhai, or Kalam as the teacher. All pioneers in their own field. Bhaba in the atomic research, Sarabhai in the space program, Kalam is the missile. All were, they were superb, no comparison. They were the architects of the modern India. And I hope that our teachers will also learn many things from your session. It was wonderful plan. So nicely you have executed in a very short time. We could remember, we could know so many things. I'm sure that it will be immemorable session for all of us. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, Sharmaji, thank you very much for this opportunity you have given me to share my thoughts with the beautiful minds. If they have any questions, they can connect with me. You can give them my number, or they can have my SciComm group, and we can daily chat science stories every day.
I'll share with them, and I'll also share the group and the NCSTC that you are doing.
Yeah.
If anybody is interested, they can join.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
My
much.
day is rewarded. Thank you very much.
So, friends, you have listened the beautiful session of Professor Dr. Jayaraman, and in that session, you have seen many things. You might have noted about the education quotations. The education is not the learning; it is about the framing of the mind. It is to think that every time you can see the Albert Einstein, you can see anybody. Every time they are saying that we have to think. So thinking is the main concern, and I hope that you will learn one thing, that how to think. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now